We're back.
Wait, but we're already fucking starting. I thought this was another. All right, fuck it. Yeah, we're back. All right, we're back on schedule, I guess.
Week to week.
Week to week.
Memory leak coming at you.
Memory leak. Week to week. Week to week. Memory leak. All right.
Time to squeak.
Don't say pimp squeak.
Memory leak. Podcast about games, gaming.
Yeah. What's your name?
Benjamin. Rebirth to Benjamin.
Oh, I get it now. What's my name? Geron. Zachary Geron. All right.
Oh God.
Zach ain't dead. Geron. All right. Okay.
I don't know if we're even going to talk about today.
Then I thought you were trying to set me up.
No,
to talk about that.
I know that today is the
talk about what we're motherfucker. All right, go ahead.
Today was the state of play for Rebirth.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't either. All I got was updates from friends of ours.
Oh, I didn't hear
that were just like, yo, mini games, yo, 400 songs.
Nelson, that was all Nelson.
Yeah,
400 songs.
That's a lot of songs.
I wish they wouldn't.
When do these motherfuckers sleep?
Well, see, I wish they wouldn't put numbers to everything because 400 songs also means like
quantity is not a signifier of quality.
Right. It's not like the songs are gonna be bad. I mean, it's gonna be stuff like versions and
night version, day version.
Count.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
the Chocobo version.
Yeah, exactly.
The Chocobo theme just reorchestrated.
Right.
Which is a different instrumentation.
Which is whatever. It's fine. It's what's it called? What is that? Oh no. Oh. Did something disconnect? No.
No, we're going.
Yeah, no. Fucking Rebirth is going to be cool, though.
I am excited for Rebirth. There's not going
to be anything wrong with it. The only thing I could expect...
The demo is up today.
Oh, there is a demo.
There is a demo. But I don't think I want to play it. I was having this debate. I don't think... Because here's the thing. It's out in 3 weeks. I know I'm going to get it day one.
Yeah. So,
like, is it worth the time or, you know, just the mental capacity of dealing with the demo?
Well, does the demo let you bring your save data?
No.
I'm guessing no. Is the demo
I'm pretty sure
a unique set of moves or items or anything?
That I'm not sure of. That I was curious about because the phrasing of the tweet describing the demo was step into the shoes of Cloud or Sephiroth as you go through the Nibelheim incident.
Damn, that's a fucking spoiler right there. Or Sephiroth?
Well, but the way I interpret it, my first thought was what you said is like, oh shit. Is it like choose which one you want to play as?
Yeah.
But I think what they meant by that too is actually it's just like, oh, this is your party. Just like in Rebirth when you had your party and you can swap to Sephiroth in combat.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of when I thought about it longer than my initial reaction.
Yeah. Because my thought was that, oh, you just get to play Sephiroth too. Like Sephiroth separate from the party, just doing his own thing.
So it just kind of drops you into that flashback moment, which is undoubtedly going to be in the main game.
Yeah, it has.
So I'm like, do I really want to just like play this out of context, just so I can like touch it a little bit?
See,
when I'm going to touch it anyway in this exact moment, but in context in 3 weeks.
Personally, I consider stuff like that to be like, especially if it's a big game that I'm interested in. I consider demos and things like that to actually be part of the experience.
Interesting.
Just like it's an officially released bit of the game, like a slice of the game, not a vertical slice necessarily. Could be, but not necessarily. Of the game. I know I'm going to get it. They know people are going to buy it. They know people are interested in it. The whole reason that they're even releasing that is to kind of wet your whistle for it.
Yeah.
And kind of get you ready to play more.
Yeah.
And even if it's something you're going to see again, it's having it removed from the context might change. It might be different.
Intentional?
Yeah, there might be some kind of intent behind playing it as a demo, and then not to say.
That is interesting. I feel it. I mean, the last game Square Enix released with the demo was 16, Final Fantasy 16, which we did play the demo. Mm-hmm. The benefit of the demo for that game that actually was kind of interesting was that even though it's a segment that does show up in the game, you actually have more stuff in the demo.
You get that's vertical slice kind of thing.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah. That when games do that is interesting.
I think honestly, I think demos should just be a normal thing anyway. So giving you a demo that shows you what the game can be, even despite like, oh, this might be enough for some players and they might just only play this. That's a risk that should be taken.
I will say Square has been very good at releasing demos.
Yeah, yes.
Probably the best of any of the companies.
Of the like big companies that release AAA games, yes.
Well, I mean, can small developers even afford to like go through and figure out what demo they want to make?
Well, a lot of the time their demo is the early access
like,
version that you play for a year,
which is usually paid.
Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah,
Just
Power World was.
Power World is paid. Yeah,
that's basically a demo. It's a full game, but it's also a demo. You know what I mean? That game's gonna look very different 2 years from now.
It had better look different 2 years ago because I
know a lot of hate.
I know you enjoy it. I played some. I'm already not. This it's gonna be short. I promise you. I already don't really enjoy survival games. And
yeah, I don't really enjoy
playing that.
Games.
I was like, damn, this is like a bag of unsalted potato chips with like
the beginning of the game, especially
sprinkles on it.
It's really painful.
Like, maybe
you're having the experience that Donkey had, where he's like punching the tree, and it's taking 10 minutes to get one log, and he's like, "Why are people enjoying this?" But I will genuinely say that part was painful. They need to improve that sort of, quote, new player experience. Once you get a little bit of stuff and you start getting some of the automation, the game is genuinely, that's like when a game starts and it's a little bit more fun. You can actually move around and do stuff.
Like I know the nature of it being, I told you I wasn't going to talk about this very long, but I think the nature of it being a survival game probably prevents this from happening. But I think a sort of in medias res kind of situation where you start in the middle of something to contextualize. Yeah. What you're doing, but how are they going to do that? So it is kind of a new world all the time. You know what I mean? But I mean, just like give me the
that is the hard part of the
later gameplay right now, so I can see what I'm working toward.
It's so hard when you like we're seriously diverging, but it's kind of funny because what you mentioned, you want to get somebody dropped in with enough context that they get hooked. It's the whole purpose of a demo in the first place. Yeah, so it is relevant. Yeah, but with a game like Power World or any survival game, really, a huge part of the draw is like that RNG roguelike element of the world being completely different every time you play it.
The kind of the mystery, quote unquote, of what could happen while you're trying to build up to whatever endpoint that may be designed or that you may have decided for yourself.
It's ironic because that's like probably one of the weaker points of it and of the genre, but it's also like their whole thing is trend hopping anyway. So it's like
that's their goal.
They never would have been able to make that game without doing that. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. But
back to demos. Square has been very good at doing demos consistently, almost every single game. Yeah. At least every major game.
A lot of the
even games, their weird B tier shit with like Harvestella.
Like fucking Various Day Life, all that shit.
All getting demos. Yeah. Which is funny too, because I would have thought as soon as because there's been games where demos would come out, and probably a bulk of people play the demo like, wow, this actually, I was going to get this, but and now I'm not.
That's the risk, exactly. That is the risk of making a demo in the first place. Prince of Persia had that demo, and I usually don't fuck around with Ubisoft shit, nowadays especially, unless it's called Beyond Good and Evil 1. And I played the demo for Prince of Persia Lost Crown. Yeah. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? They made something? Yeah. They made a game here?
They made a game. This is a game?
With a vision? So
I had the same reaction.
Buying it, though. I am going to wait for it to be on sale, like I said before.
Which it will be in like 2 days. Yeah. I felt the same way where I was like, the game looks really cool, but I really needed to like touch it. I needed to feel the game to have the confidence to pull the trigger and be like, yeah, this is going to I can buy it and feel good about it.
Yeah. And even then, that demo gives you things that you get later on.
Yeah, in the game
exactly. To show you
the possibilities.
Exactly. Like the what is going to be possible. Not all of it, of course, but on a basic level, what kind of movement and everything you can expect. So when you get the game and start from basically zero, you're like, oh, I know you get this ability. I can't wait to get that ability, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that is the part where like wetting your whistle actually does come in handy. Yeah. Because it's almost less of a spoiler at that point because the context is different. Yeah. But it's also like it's like seeing a really good trailer where you're like, ooh, I do want that in my life.
Yeah. In trailers, like people are like, oh, all the good parts were in the trailer. Like, no shit. They want you to get excited for what is in the movie. So they show you what's here, but out of context, it doesn't mean the same thing. So then watching it in context, you sit there for the sit there for the 2 hours or whatever. And with the context, hopefully you enjoy whatever it is in a different way. And a lot of times stuff in previews might be removed from the might not actually even be in the movie, which happens sometimes.
That does.
Which It's kind of shitty sometimes.
Also, it probably depends on the region, even.
Yeah, just buy the Blu-ray after it. Or not. Don't do all that. Oh
no, buy the Blu-ray. Physical is the way to go.
I mean,
for movies, especially these days.
Yeah, strangely enough, I say I buy a lot of digital shit, but I actually buy. If there's a movie that I want, I will buy the disc. Just because I know it's going to wear out, but I'm not. A Blu-ray is not going to wear out the same way other shit is. It's not the same inconvenience of taking it out and putting it in when I want to just. I'm not going to sit there and be like, I just want to watch 20 minutes of this movie. No one's going to do that.
Yeah, it's the similar thing we've been talking about of like art, where I think movies are firmly in the art sphere, whereas video games are much more of like toys to me.
Yeah.
So I don't buy physical games really at all anymore because it's just like I'm just going to play what I want to play when I want to play it.
Yeah.
And if I can't play it, then I'll just play something else.
Exactly.
So it's not like when I'm in the mood for something, it's more for a genre. Mm-hmm. And if I'm in the mood for a very specific experience curated by a game, I'll just go watch a YouTube clip of it.
Oh,
because I'm not going to go play through like 40 hours to get to like the end of disc 2 of Final Fantasy 7, the original version, just to see what it was like. Which
we're kind of diverging from demos, but speaking of like that kind of thing and the way movies are or whatever, I wonder what would happen to a video game if scene selection before you've even finished the game was a thing at the outset. Like,
that's interesting.
What if I could just pop in a game and say, like, even a book, you can just flip to the last chapter.
Which you can do now in Alan Wake 2.
Oh, see.
They added straight up scene selection.
See, that's new. That's tight. That's the thing. Like,
it's tight.
Let's say you buy a game.
I don't know if you have to beat the game first. Either way, they added it, which I'm happy about.
If you like a lot of games are, the nature of a game, you play a game, and the whole point is that you progress from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. It's not meant to be consumed like a story. You're meant to play through it and have some kind of struggle as you go through it. Part of that struggle is enduring it.
And I think there's actually two parts to this, which is interesting. One is the fact that games have more and more accessibility options these days.
Yep. Yeah.
Where a game designer has a game and the challenges that consist of the entirety of the game in mind, but they also give people ways to just not have to do that anymore.
Not have to deal with
Which on the one hand is like great for maximizing the audience and like getting the most amount of people the most amount of sort of value or experience for the game. But on the other hand, there's like something weird about it to me almost, where it's just like you're like it's missing the game part of it now.
Yeah,
and
you start to cut down on the game
part
thing.
That's the game.
And that kind of brings it even further away from what a game like GAME
an actual game is. Yeah.
And it does go into what you're saying, like a plaything.
Yeah.
And it's when I say plaything, me specifically, I don't mean that as a negative at all. The fun of having something tactile that responds to you, like you have that feeling as a kid, you have that feeling as an adult, you never lose the desire for something to, in a risk-free environment, to be able to play with something, have it respond to you, have you respond to it, and it just mean nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why games like the Mario games are still fun for so many people.
Yeah.
There might be a story, but the story is never anything more than rescue this little place, but you can take your time. We're not in that much danger. You know what I mean?
Well,
the bad guy's kind of stupid.
It's kind of funny because even back with like NES and shit, you could Game Shark it. It's not intentional by any means.
Yeah, it's not right.
But it almost turns it into a scene selection where it's like just debug mode, start me on. Actually, I did this with Sonic the Hedgehog because there was a built-in debug menu on the cartridge.
In Sonic 1, right?
Sonic 1. Because I was like, I'm not playing through this game as an actual human child. I'm going to fucking debug mode to the last level and see what it's like.
There are levels that are ass in Sonic 1. The last time I played it, I did a run-through of all the Sonic games before Sonic Mania came out, actually.
Yeah.
And all the 2D ones, I should say.
I did that when they were all on 360 Live Arcade.
Oh, okay. I did some of them on
which
my
has
phone,
save
actually.
state, thank fucking God.
Yeah. So, like, stage selects and level selects and all that are usually reserved as developer tools, which completely makes sense. But on a certain level, it's nice to have the option to just say, fuck this level sucks, I don't like it, I just want to skip it. Or this scene, like in a movie, you can be like, this scene has some shit that's really pissing me off, just fast forward through it. in a game,
unless you're in a theater.
That's a different experience, though.
It's different. It's interesting though, because it's almost like part of where my brain went when you said that is like, what about the opposite? What if people that produced the Blu-ray actually were able to lock out scene select until you've watched the movie?
The whole movie, yeah. See, there'd be some fun in that for me personally.
But I think the theater thing is almost part of it, where it's like when filmmakers make a movie, all of them that are like treating it like art, I should say, and not like a product,
right?
Are doing it with the theater experience in mind.
Yes,
like that's the reality. No creator of a movie, other than just sort of like to make a name for themselves, is like, oh, I really hope my movie goes straight to streaming, or straight to VHS back in the 90s, right? Like that's never the dream for a filmmaker.
Yeah, straight to VHS or straight to DVD or whatever. That's usually considered a negative, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh,
there's definitely a bad
enough
connotation to it.
Like those Disney sequels that didn't end up in theaters, like, and a lot of them earn that,
Well, because they're not even by Disney Animation Studios.
Yeah, there's some thing that was squirted out that makes no fucking, that's where you get the end of the original movie.
It removes itself from art and becomes a product.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but it's interesting because the theater experience, you can't fucking fast forward that shit.
Yeah.
All you can do is close your eyes and close your ears if you don't like something. But like all intents and purposes, you're going to sit through what they want you to sit through, and you're going to experience what they want you to experience. Yes. So it's kind of similar that way. You know what I mean?
So the theater experience is that intended experience, but you could always choose to wait to get the experience of just having it at home, and
which almost represents this like new game plus run through a game where it's like people, now you have stage select.
Yeah, now you can just kind of go to whatever part you want and just show, a lot of times my thing with a game wanting to be able to go to wherever I want in it is to show somebody like, oh, this particular bit of the game is pretty cool.
Look at this segment.
Yeah.
But you also have to pick a specific segment that's also not going to like ruin it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not the climax, but also not like the exposition.
Exactly. Like it's rough because sometimes I'll do that. Like I was showing somebody No More Heroes 3. And I like that game. I liked a lot of the things in that game, and you can take a lot of the stuff out of context because the whole game doesn't really make that much sense anyway. And in order to show it to somebody, I had to start. In order to show bits and pieces, I had to either log into my fucking Switch, my Nintendo Switch, my Nintendo account, download my save data, hope that I had a save file that was near the spot, and then get there, or just play through the whole fucking game again.
Well, but that's the other thing that sucks about video games compared to movies is like watching a movie is not a big ask. It's not a big cost.
It's not
to like get to the scene that you wanted to get to. Yeah. But for a game that could be upwards of 100 hours long, it's like, oh, I want to watch the final segment of the game. It's like, oh, well, buckle up, bucko.
Bitch, you're playing it over.
Which is why Tim Rogers records every playthrough he does of a game.
Oh, that's an impressive thing to do, but that's way too much to ask like anyone to do.
Well, he's a special person.
Yeah, special in a lot of ways. But that goes back to the point of having a demo that's a vertical slice without without forcing you to play through enough of the game to get to certain things, because it's like, let me see what's cool about this game now.
I'm still on the fence because there's games, and similarly there's movies that do this really well. Yeah. Where, well, I don't know about the trailer specifically, but like in really good movies, especially things like action movies, some of the most iconic movies, some of the most iconic scenes are that opening scene because it sets up the movie, it establishes the vibe. Yeah. It's something interesting that happens, it hooks you in, right? Yeah. Let's talk about Jaws, right? There's the woman floating at night. You know there's a sense of terror. You know there's something happening. You know it's a shark. Yeah. You know, and you get sort of that dread. You know what you're signing up for.
You know what you're sitting down for.
You know, other Spielberg. Like Spielberg is probably the best at this, which is, iconic in and of itself, just why he's so famous. But
I mean, fucking Jurassic
Indiana Jones
Park requires
Jurassic
all of that setup
though,
is meant for to kind of go fucked up.
Yeah, Jurassic Park though is funny because they don't show dinosaurs for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is great.
Exactly.
But also like I can see why people would want a trailer or a taste to like show a little bit more of a dinosaur. I was gonna say Indiana Jones, where like there's two scenes that are the most iconic in that movie, I would argue. One, obviously, the arc opening and people melting. Spoiler alert.
Fucking wax man.
But I would argue the more iconic scene is the first scene where he's doing the thing with the bag and he's juggling it. And then the ball comes out. Like, that's the first sequence of the movie.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself could be a short film where it has like, you know, different pacing in terms of like the vibe, the tension that's being built.
I mean, people
and
have
sort
been
of like
imitating that scene.
And him running away through the jungle to get to the biplane.
Yeah.
So
fucking there's a fucking reference to that goddamn scene in Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah. Opening scene. Like, there's no reason why, going back to demos, my favorite kind of a demo is one where you play the beginning of the game and it should be enough to hook you, and then you transfer that data and you keep going when the game comes out. Yeah. That's the perfect demo for me.
I appreciate that.
I'm sad that only RPGs like do it for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think RPGs developers know how much of an investment an RPG is in the first place.
But it's also fucked up because RPGs aren't fun in the beginning. Like, it's all exposition.
A lot of it, is just a ton of exposition. And but the Dragon Quest XI demo is like 10 hours of game. And it kind of starts getting to the cool shit. And then it stops.
Yeah.
And when it stops, it's like, well, fuck, I guess I got to buy. But then you're not intimidated because you don't have to start over.
That's true.
You buy the game and you move your save data into the full game after the demo, and you keep going from there. Which
Dragon
is
Quest XI is a really interesting one too for me, because I also think that part of the game is like the most generic.
Which, the beginning?
The first 10 hours.
Yeah,
like, as soon as the demo ends, it's like, okay, now the generic part's over. But for anybody that like doesn't know better, it's like, wow, this is like a really boring JRPG.
Yeah.
And the game does a lot of really interesting shit with the game after that. So it's like a little bit of a shame almost.
And again, that's the risk. That's the risk of it. Like, what's it called?
I will say the risk, I have to imagine when you get to that corpo level is almost always worth it, because specifically what you're doing is managing expectations.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, we're going to put out all of our games at least a little bit so you can touch and feel, so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to touch our game and be like, well, the performance is shitty. Yeah. Well, it doesn't run at 60 FPS. Like, they know the challenge of releasing a game in 2024, and it's that resolves the issue.
Exactly. Like, you can't, with a demo, with a good demo that's using a build that is mostly representative of what the end game is going to be, you skirt the entire issue of someone buying something and being like, this isn't what you said it was going to be, and now I can't get a refund. No, I was like, you could try this. Fucking fighting games do it. Have been doing it recently. A fighting game will come out, a demo for a fighting game will come out like maybe a month or two ahead of time. Like the Street Fighter 6 demo came out 2 months.
That's pretty
before
funny.
The game came.
Oh yeah, it was the beta test.
No, the demo.
Oh, there's a full demo that was not just the closed beta test?
No. It was a demo of World Tour. It let you start World Tour by letting you make your character.
Oh, that's funny. I forgot about that.
Play some of the game. And it actually let you finish up the tutorial so that you didn't have to deal with it later. So you didn't have to deal with making a character because you can move that to the full game. You didn't have to deal with the tutorial. And you could mess with the new mechanics in full with two of the characters in the game, like Ryu and Luke. You can mess with those in 2-player context, everything, and decide, okay, do I find this game fun enough to spend $60 on it, or is this demo enough for me and I can move on? And like risking that, you have people that will say this is enough, I'm good. But you will have people saying, I haven't played Street Fighter in years. Let me try this one because I see there's a demo on the store. Oh wow, I like this a lot. I think I'm gonna get it. And they get it, and then they find out, oh, well, they have a whole single-player mode. They have the multiplayer. They have the online. There's something here for me. And even Tekken 8 had a demo before the game came out. The game's out now. But that was also, like, for me, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this new Tekken game with this new mechanics. And I played it. I was like, oh, fuck. This game really is Tekken. Like, this is probably the best Tekken has ever felt. And
you were
I kind of want it.
Were you doing this demo on console or was it on PC?
I played the demos on PC, but I have played them.
Interesting. So they actually did have the demos on PC, because I was thinking PC is also where it's probably the most risky, right? Because it's all the different configurations you can have.
Yeah.
And I was thinking,
people can data mine and shit like
that.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's almost like Steam is almost taking the idea of a demo off of the backs of a lot of developers by like giving them the full refund policy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you got 2 hours or what is it?
It was 2 hours or 2 weeks, whichever comes first.
Okay, yeah. And it's like, you can try out the game. if it's like it fucked up on your computer, or if you don't like it, whatever it is, any reason,
it can literally be I don't like it.
Yeah. So it's every Steam game almost has a 2-hour demo built into it, which is kind of nice.
A 2-hour demo where you can make save data. It's not a terrible idea. I think will say with that little thing, you have to keep tabs on how much you're playing, because if you're sitting there it's
not full demo status of like safeguarding you as a consumer.
Because you need to
but they did what they could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they did as much as they could probably reasonably do, and it is a miracle.
As like the marketplace vendor, yeah.
Yeah. Like you could be in a situation with a PC game at least where you're tweaking it for 2 hours and you don't realize it. So you don't actually end up playing the demo. So by the time you get to that point, you're like, oh fuck, I spent $70 on this game and it just really isn't running well, but I spent 2 hours trying to get it to. Fuck.
Yeah.
Now I have to kind of write an email and a bunch more shit, and it becomes more complicated.
Yeah, it's not as consumer friendly.
Yeah. Like during Steam sales, I'll sometimes buy games. I'll buy a bunch of them, and then I'll play a few of them and be like, okay, I'm going to refund like this game. This game I really don't want right now. Like Killer Instinct on PC.
Oh, yeah.
I've refunded it twice, and then I bought it before the anniversary one came out.
That's really
mainly because the Steam version doesn't have ranked matchmaking with the Xbox.
Oh, crossplay?
Ranked, yeah. You have that with like player matches, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like casual matches, but
not ranked. Not ladder.
Which is whatever, but that kind of sucked. I mean, your player pool is smaller.
Yeah.
So I play it for a bit and be like, all right, let me get my refund. All right, let me get my refund. And then the anniversary version came out. I was like, it's cheap and the price is going to go up, so I can't. So if I'm going to get it, I got to get it now.
It's interesting too how demos have like the nature of which they exist and their path that they've taken to evolve in the world of free to play microtransaction games too.
Yeah.
Because like, it's just, I would rather have a demo and then get into a full game and just like eyes wide open type situation.
Yeah, eyes wide shut.
Eyes wide shut, eyes wide open.
No, whatever. I haven't thought about that movie in a long time. Good.
But it's hard because especially with a live service game, it's like the game never really starts or ends. It's never really until they turn the fucking servers off.
Right, yeah.
But
until
it's
the game
just,
doesn't make enough money.
I mean, I guess it's good that you can just play it for free and sort of see what you're dealing with, but there's so much extra bullshit that is sort of like that you're paying for it in other ways with time or whatever it is.
That's like people shit on Fortnite. Fortnite, even though a lot of people a lot of the leadership at Epic Games is kind of fucking a bunch of fuckos. The Fortnite itself is probably
the best free-to-play model.
Yeah, that game is not successful because of luck. Because a lot of games like that there's nothing lucky about Fortnite because they ironic that we're talking about this after Pal World, really. Fortnite was not a battle royale.
Right.
That mode came after the success of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG.
Yeah.
And it did it in a way that was more appealing to more people. And
what was it called again? The original story mode? Was it even story mode?
Save the World.
It was just called Save the World?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Like the name Fortnite it's like 2 weeks to fight off zombies or some shit. It was a zombie like tower defense kind of game.
That's right. Yeah.
That's where the building comes from. The building wasn't designed for this battle royale situation. It's just a holdover from what used to be there. And so they had that, and they had people buying in on this game. It was a full price game. You'd play it, and then they introduced the battle royale mode, and it was free. So if anything, people could use that mode to try Fortnite as a game. But what ended up happening is
more popular.
It ended up being really, really fun to a lot of people because 100 players, the mechanics were easily understood. It actually kind of had those survival game mechanics in it but the nature of it was like protecting yourself in this limited time period where you were trying to get be the last person standing, and battle royale, duh. And that model ended up being like they would see things that worked, seeing things that didn't, and they would use it as a testing ground for Unreal Engine stuff. Put it on every platform, free to play, like we're talking about. If you try Fortnite, if you just want to play it, you don't have to actually buy anything.
Yeah.
What you end up becoming is fodder for those who do buy stuff. But you, as a player, are not disadvantaged if you don't buy anything, the only thing that might happen is some dumb kid might bully you for having a default skin, but who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can still play the game, you can still win, you can still engage with all of it. And recently they've been adding modes like the Lego survival mode,
that's all very
the Rocket Knight stuff, the festival mode, which is
the Alan Wake remake.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of that stuff you can just jump into. You don't have to pay for it. And if you do want to pay money for anything, you can. Like if I decide I want the Solid Snake and the Raiden skin and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle skins and all that kind of stuff, I can go ahead and buy it, but I don't feel the need to do that. I can just jump in the game, play it once a year like I kind of do already, and then move on. And that just works for a lot of people. There are people that get super invested in the game. You can put in as little or as much as you want. And you never, at least in my opinion, that game never feels like it screws you for what you put into it. Whereas there are a lot of other
it's rare
games.
It's rare.
Yeah. Like there's other games that are free to play that have gacha mechanics.
Yeah.
And like you can feel like you're trying it and they can tell you, oh, you can get everything without spending a dime. But you have to put in fucking time. And
I really feel like
money oftentimes.
I really feel like free to play only works in this way that we're talking about and comparing it to demos.
Yeah.
When it's a game against other players. Mm-hmm. If it's like PvE or / story mode something, it all kind of falls apart, right? Because now they're locking you out of content probably.
Yeah,
you're like
absolutely missing something.
Cutting you out in terms of the time it's going to take for you to beat it. Yeah. Like you got the exhaust mechanics or whatever it is. Like, oh, you ran out of your 5 turns this for the week. Shit like that.
You ran out of your fucking gems or whatever.
Even Pokemon Picross had that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Pokemon Picross, you could only play like one puzzle a day.
Yeah.
Unless you pay fucking whatever.
I don't know what the fuck. That kind of shit really...
I beat all of Pokemon Picross without paying a dime.
Without paying a dime?
I played a little bit every day.
I don't like... I limit how much I play a game usually, but I don't like the limit being imposed on me.
Right.
And that shit I will hard delete something that does that. Like, I ran out of gems to do that. All right, bye. I'm never going to play you again. Like, are you fucking
You
kidding?
had your chance.
Yeah. And I'll gladly buy a game. Like, I'll buy into a game if I want to play it on my own time. I didn't buy Super Mario Run, which is there's part of the game is free to play on your phone. But, I don't know. There was something about that game that felt, not like I was saying last week. It
authentic.
Feels cheap.
Yeah,
it feels cheap. It does not feel doesn't feel lazy, but it feels like it's there to
make
kind
money.
To bring some money out of me.
Check off the mobile, faucet tapping into that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like it's not a like when it comes to buying a game.
It's kind of funny before you move off of Mario Run.
Yeah.
It's funny that they left it where they left it.
Mm-hmm.
There's only like 10 worlds or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of content in that game. Overall, I think it costs $10 to get everything.
Yeah, it's like $10. Which isn't that much money for a video game, to be honest with you.
So it's almost like they did have that recognition where they're like, something's not right here. Something about what we're doing just doesn't line up with like what we do.
Philosophy when it comes
our
to
values as a company, which I know a lot of people when you work for a big company and they talk about like what are our top 3 core, mission and vision and values. A lot of people roll your eyes at it, but like for a company like Nintendo, it's really important because it's what differentiates you and it really drives like what keeps people there.
Yeah.
So I did feel like sort of that self-reflection. It's like, okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the fucking thing that I hate. Tap the sign. Tap the sign that has our values on it.
Yeah. I mean, for real though, you could tell Nintendo was trying to creep into another space, which was that mobile game market, and they successfully did it with Fire Emblem Heroes.
That's true.
But there are other attempts, like you never hear anyone talking about fucking Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. You never hear anyone talking about Mario Run. You hardly hear anyone talking about Mario.
What about Niantic Pikmin?
I downloaded it and didn't even play it.
You didn't even open it?
I did not even. I looked at it 3 times. Like, you know what? I'm never gonna play this shit. I'm gonna delete this now.
It is not worth tapping on this icon right now.
Like, what the fuck am I
and
gonna
letting it load into memory on my device.
Like the fucking Pokemon is a different story entirely because Pokemon is its own fucking monster. But then like
Pokemon just got really fucking lucky, honestly.
Like fucking Dragalia Lost. Y'all forgot about that, I'm sure. But that was
not the people that were into it. They fucking like wept digitally.
When that shit was gone,
I saw the fucking like salty ass tears when those servers went down. They're like, we have to archive this. Where are we gonna put all the content that we've done and all the raids that we need a P server immediately. Like
for real though, that was like a Nintendo and Cygames thing.
Yeah,
and I don't know who the IP belongs to, but it kind of sucks.
No, it does. I said that very callously and not empathetically. But it is, it's a shitty reality of live service games.
I hardly played it.
You can invest a lot into a community and something like that, and they'll just pull the ripcord. You know what I mean?
Fucking.
Whereas even fucking Phantasy Star Online 1 for GameCube has communities still going online.
I mean, Phantasy Star Online 1, GameCube, Dreamcast, and Xbox version, any of the versions of it, people were able to keep that alive. Figured out how to make, how to set up like fan servers and all that.
Yeah,
and if you want to play it, you can play it.
Anything that basically had like, I guess they were dedicated servers or something like that.
They were servers.
Can be basically something that's more easily replicatable than something that's being pushed a live service like content updates. It seemed like it was easier to replicate. I could be talking completely out my ass right now, though.
You could be. I haven't really. The only online game I was near at all was Fallout 76. And anytime anyone asked that, I'm like, I literally looked at it and said, like, nodded at the person that was working on it and said, "Good luck,
deuces."
I'm gonna go back to work on what I'm already on. I hope they
back in the
this
shelter.
Out. Yeah, no, fucking. I only did that until it came out, and then I was off of fucking shelter. Fallout fucking shelter, my cock.
Did Fallout Shelter have a demo?
Well, it's free to play.
Yeah, no.
What the fuck? Fallout Shelter is on everything though.
Yeah, it's even on Switch.
It's on Switch. You can get pretty far without
touching anything, paying a dime,
spending any money. Yeah. But I was gonna say something. I lost it. When I buy a game, my money is going into the investment and the investment into the enjoyment that I'll get out of it. And if we've probably talked about this before, but anyone saying like a game, talking about games don't have to be fun, it's like, a game has no purpose if it's not fun.
That's anybody that's saying that is somebody that needs to emotionally evolve out of it.
You need to.
The only people that are going to be saying that are people that have turned it into their jobs.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only reason to say it, is if you've now, that's your dedicated income stream and it's your method of survival and, liveliness.
If you like your livelihood, if you're relying on it,
then you're right. Games don't have to be fun if they're, keeping your children alive or whatever, and paying for their doctor's visits.
Yeah. Fucking, and that's like the benefit of a demo is to be able to see, like, do I find what this game is offering at all fun? And if the answer is no, then you can move on comfortably. You know what I mean? You kind of lose the FOMO because it's like, well, this is ass. Like, this is, for me, this game is ass. Or you can get FOMO from like Bayonetta 1. They released a demo of that on Xbox 360 back in 2009. And because the game came out over here in the US in 2010. And I played the demo and I was like, oh, fuck. I couldn't get enough of it. So I was working at Toys R Us still. Ugh. And as soon as I saw the shipment came in, I was like, all right, give me my shit. Give me my shit. It's time to go.
I do feel like
that and Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
I do feel like that is what at least Square Enix has been trying to tap back into, is that idea of like the demo disc days. Yeah. Where fucking Spyro would come with Crash 3 and a demo disc, and it's like, play the fucking motorcycle level. This shit slaps. Yeah. And it's like they have those cool partnerships. And hopefully, I mean, obviously it's never going to be quite like that with digital media is basically dead on the game side. Mm-hmm. But at least getting a little bit of like, oh, there's a state of play and we're going to have a demo for you right now. You can check it out. Like trying to sort of like build hype in a meaningful way that doesn't cycle out of control like fucking Cyberpunk did. Yeah. Fuck yeah. So it's nice. It's nice to see that things have swung back a little bit towards the other direction, towards the center a little bit of stability and what demos can and should be about.
And making a demo does take time away from full development, and it is an expensive thing, and it might cause issues with the development of the full game that you don't foresee, because you're essentially making two separate builds of a game at that point. And like I've seen like Sonic 06, in fact, its demo is more polished than the full game.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think we've watched some videos about that.
Yeah, like that can happen.
Because isn't that what Project 06 was originally based on?
I think it's based on that demo, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit,
at least. But Project 06 is a psycho project that needs its own time. But the shit, I don't even know what the point was. Oh yeah. The resources that you have to put in to make a demo, I think personally, are worth it to make sure that your potential consumer base is, like you were saying, is sure of what they're getting into,
meeting expectations.
Yeah, and you don't have this situation, like you're always going to have this situation. And user reviews are bullshit. Don't base your shit off of that. And really, reviews are kind of bullshit anyway. That's why you need a demo. You got to touch it yourself.
I mean,
but user reviews, you don't have the same situation where like it's like, oh, it was going to be this, but it's not. It's like, oh, there's a demo. Try that. Now you can't. Unless that demo is like full of complete bullshit, you can't really say that the game wasn't shown to you. You didn't have an opportunity to try it.
For sure. I mean, if you're talking about resources, every corporation that does any kind of development or major project management, like that's what project managers are for.
Yeah,
or like there are resources always set aside with the entire mandate of making sure that expectations are set and met.
Yeah.
Like, if there's anything that helps with that, companies will throw fucking change at it and make sure that shit is true, because like it's the worst thing that can really happen to the brand of a company or a team or whatever it is. You know, just look at No Man's Sky. They somehow fucking turned around, I guess, because they got oodles of cash.
Yeah.
But like, there's probably, of like the laymen that don't follow game news as intently as we do, like normal motherfuckers that like saw the fucking, I feel like there was a Super Bowl ad or something. Like there's a crazy marketing campaign sponsored in part by Sony to like push the concept of what what's his name was selling No Man's Sky to be.
Oh yeah. Fucking Sean Murray.
Yeah, Hello Games.
Front. Yeah, Hello Games. Yeah.
And when that shit wasn't met, I mean, I'm sure that you go and you talk to 10 people, half of them will be like, "Oh, that motherfucker who like lied about the games. It's like didn't fucking do anything that looked like it was gonna do." Yeah, I hate that guy. But like the other half are like, oh yeah, I followed his complete redemption arc of finally delivering on some similar vision.
Eventually they got
and a
there.
Volume of content that spent 10 years of straight development with free updates on.
Yeah, see that's like that situation. Like, great, the game is something that a lot of people like now, but goddamn, the wait for that. I mean, Final Fantasy 14
had
the same situation too.
Not just the wait. Yeah. They had a small team. They had to have had tens of millions of dollars. That they essentially burnt just to get back to square zero in terms of the mental public eye.
Yeah.
That's like kind of where they're at now. So if they come out with another game, they're not going to be met with praise or acclaim or like sort of like they're going to be met with hesitancy.
I mean, they already announced their next game. Like what's
the shit, and everyone's like, "No, Sean, don't promise this."
It's like when you see that dude. When I see that dude on stage, I get fucking. I start to
break out in a cold sweat.
Yeah, like I cringe, not like oh base cringe. I mean, like I cringe because I'm like, I don't think this dude should be speaking for this company.
Yeah,
it's the same way like the first like the DMC reboot. The person who was talking, who did most of the promotion for that game, like with his face and with his voice, he kind of is hidden in the back now when it comes to anything Ninja Theory puts out. And Ninja Theory has put out fucking good shit, like
really good shit.
Hellblade 2's on the way.
Finally started Hellblade.
Yeah, it's short. You should.
Yeah.
Did you play it on Steam Deck or
Steam Deck headphones on the plane? Okay. Fell asleep, but it was tight. The whispering was tight.
Whispering, yeah, and it doesn't. It starts immediately, basically.
Yeah. The Ninja Theory guy.
Yeah. So speaking of that, though, the DMC reboot, I had a lot of fun with that game's demo, but I didn't end up buying the game immediately. But I had a ton of fun with that demo. So at least I got. I
still think that game feels good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I could at least see that game, even if it doesn't really feel like Devil May Cry, it has its own ideas that clearly had the potential to be interesting, and it's like it's up to you to decide if they end up being so in the full game or not.
Yeah, and any amount of money, assuming it's within reason, couple heads, whatever it is, can make something that like dramatically reduces risk. Pretty much any company, regardless of industry, will jump at that. Like vitally important to your brand image and to the success of whatever project or product you're releasing. One thing that I was thinking about that I found interesting is that with Nintendo, and this is sort of, I think, my last talking point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we're getting near end of time here.
Yeah.
With Nintendo, they're not very consistent. And I don't know if it's just because it's different teams involved or whatever it is. But I think about how, like Mario Wonder didn't have a demo. Zelda didn't have a demo. I mean, obviously Mario and Zelda are the big hitters. But like Pikmin 4 did have a demo.
Pikmin 4 did have a demo.
And it was a significant demo.
Yeah. And it lets you transfer your shit.
Your shit.
That game's not even very long either. So
it's longer than it seems.
Well, okay.
There's a lot of shit in that game.
All right, well, whatever. But yeah, go ahead.
No, but I mean, that's just all I was thinking about. And I feel like, Pikmin, at least in terms of the teams developing it, is in sort of that house of like premier first party games developed under whatever they call it, Nintendo EAC Studio 1 or whatever.
EAD, yeah. Yeah. Do I think it's still called EAD? Huh.
You get what I'm saying.
But even then, but that
like
game was made by Aiding.
By who?
Aiding.
What is that?
Aiding? Exactly. You don't know who that is. They made Bloody Roar. They made Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They made.
I did not know that. Just 4 was made by them.
They made Deluxe. Pikmin 3 Deluxe. They helped work.
Oh, okay. That must have been their pivot, I guess.
That's probably their first try. It was like, this is how these games work. Let's make this, and then we do Pikmin 4.
Hoping we see that
studio for a while.
Hoping we see that same trend with Prime, Metro Prime.
Yeah, fuck.
Get new people on Prime 1 remaster. Maybe get Prime 2 and Prime 3 remaster, maybe, and then do Prime 4.
Yeah. I mean, by all means, they've been working on Prime 4. They've probably been working on Prime 1 and 2, or the Prime 1 remaster. If they're working on Prime 2 and 3 remastered, then hopefully
Prime 1 remastered, no demo either.
Yeah, and that game, I think, has the benefit of, well, you can play a demo at Target, but I think that game has the benefit of being $40.
Actually, is there really a Prime demo at Target on the little display switch?
Yep.
So that's even more baffling almost. Is like, why would there be demos locked to retail stores?
Oh, so that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Like Mario Wonder has no demo that you can download at home, but the demo is in the kiosk.
All right, we're getting somewhere.
My assumption is
they have partnership agreement?
Not even a partnership agreement. It's like the people that have Nintendo Switch already are going to buy Mario.
So it's almost like not even worth the cost of marketing. That's kind of funny.
But the people on the children
on the store floor.
Yeah, see like, oh, I know what Mario is. I've seen the movie. I've done this and that.
I'd be so deeply curious if you're probably right about these decisions, by the way. Like that makes a lot of sense now that you're saying it. But I am so deeply curious just knowing like what I do day to day. Like, if those decisions are based on like gut feeling of the marketing executives or whoever is in charge of deciding whether or not a demo gets made. That gets put in the eShop rather. If that's based on any actual data that they've collected.
Absolutely based on data. I can guarantee. I don't know what the data is exactly, but I can guarantee.
I'd be curious what data.
With all the surveys and shit, and they can track what games people are playing, what games people are buying, just constantly on the new consoles now. Well, the modern.
I'd be curious if they have as much data as you think they do.
I'm pretty certain they have tons and tons of like data. Let
me rephrase the question.
To decide.
I've learned a lot about big data and various industries in my networking.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There is the presence of a lot of data.
Okay.
But the way it gets used and the value and the decisions that they're driving are not quite as ironclad and as scientific as you would expect. Okay. Depending again on how mature they are, how much they've done, how much things change. Yeah. Right. I think maybe Nintendo does have the benefit of the fact that they've been running the same playbook for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can benchmark. Yeah. Any sort of breakthrough in an industry, relatively new startup, new industries, whatever it is, like they tend to struggle a little bit more of just setting a baseline of what data to collect, what data to pay attention to.
Is actually relevant
to pay attention to in the first place.
So like
But yeah, I would love to see the data and analytics behind some of the Nintendo decision making.
And my thought is, like the Metroid Prime is $40. If you already have the Switch console, it's pretty easy to just be like, well, fuck it, I'll buy it. Pikmin has historically not been on machines that sell great. It started on GameCube. The 1 and 2 are on GameCube. 3 was a Wii U game.
Yeah.
It's only like, hey, Pikmin was on 3DS, but that game sucks my balls. But Pikmin 1, they re-released Pikmin 1, 2, 3 on Switch, which is it's like the third top selling console of all time.
It's number 1 now.
No, it's not.
In Japan it is.
Oh, in Japan it is. That's different. I mean, like,
I thought that's what you're talking about. Because that's been the news headline of the past week. It's like, it's about to pass Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
it's about to pass.
In Japan, it's number 1.
Yeah, it just passed number 1.
Worldwide, it's still number 3.
Oh, okay.
It's behind DS, behind PS2.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
But
it's never gonna be PS2.
But so with Pikmin, Pikmin has always been trying to be a pillar of the Nintendo like IP,
right?
And this is finally its fucking chance to hit a lot of people at once. So they needed, like with the demo of Pikmin 3 Deluxe and with Pikmin 4, they're saying, hey, you need to check this shit out.
Yeah.
You need to give this a look. No risk. $0 to spend on this. And when you do try the demo, especially for Pikmin 4, let's get you through the tutorial in the demo and get the game fucking started when you decide to buy it. Don't even fucking worry about it. We've got you. We're saving you some time with this one. And that makes complete sense to me. And
it's kind of funny because now that you say it, I can't believe Nintendo paid off Donkey to be a shill for Pikmin 4.
Did they?
No. But Donkey put it on his number 1 2023 game.
Yeah, I mean,
his YouTube list.
For a lot of people, that game...
It's really fucking good.
That game, it's
really good.
I'm not going to start it, but there's stuff like that. And then you have fucking like the Bayonetta Origins that came out this past year. Bayonetta 3 doesn't have a demo. Bayonetta 1 had a demo. Bayonetta 2 did not have a demo on Wii U or what's it called? There was no way to play those games outside of the first one on the 360 and PS3 to give it a try. But Bayonetta Origins is such a different game from those. And it not only did they have a demo that you can just download on the eShop, they had a demo that was unlockable in Bayonetta 3. It was hidden. Right. It was hidden until a certain update. And that demo that they had in Bayonetta 3 kind of like stops suddenly. And by playing it, you unlock a costume in Bayonetta 3, which is cool.
Does that really count as a demo, though?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely counts as a demo.
You think?
Yes, that 100% counts as a demo. Because it's a demo for people that are already clearly invested enough to unlock it in the first place.
I wonder if it's even though, like, because that also feels like a unique situation, right?
Yeah.
It's at the end of a full length. It's not?
Not at the end. It's an unlockable that's part of it, but you can find it like partway into the game. It's not
how far. A couple hours into the game.
A few hours into the game.
If you're regardless,
it's
a few hours into the game.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation because I almost feel like it's a mutual idea where they were like, okay, we know we want to do something like this. Let's start developing part of it and let's drop it in as an Easter egg type situation.
Yeah.
But also use it to get feedback maybe because like we've never made a game like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess it's a demo in the sense that it does serve all the demo function like purposes that a demo serves.
Yeah.
But it's just weird because it's like not how a demo typically goes.
Typically, right. Yeah. It had the like the strange thing about that particular thing is it was in Bayonetta 3 before it was announced. Like you could play it and it was not an announced game, but you had a lot of people who play it, like me included, who said, I would play a full game. I played an entire game that was this. Oh, well, we got you. Here it is. And so the people that were invested already can say, oh, fuck, there's a whole game that's like this. And the people that weren't so invested get to see that there's this Bayonetta game that doesn't play like the other one. So maybe you'd be more interested in it because it's more focused on its story. It's more focused on a different, like, I wouldn't say more relaxed style of gameplay, but less intense style of gameplay.
A little more subdued.
A little bit more subdued, yeah. And it's not, it's not about the sex appeal, this particular one. Because it better not fucking be, because it's about a child. Going back to the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, demo.
Yeah.
I think by playing it,
are you gonna play it?
I'd like to, but I don't have a PS5.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is this the first PS5 game?
No.
People love to joke online about how there's no PS5 games.
There are no fucking PS5
Just
games.
because they like to make their shit backwards compatible, which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but the being able to have a lot of these games also coming out on PS4 is great for people just want to play the games and might not be so worried about having the absolute best
experience.
They can get. Like you can still play God of War Ragnarok on.
That's always the one that I think of.
PS4,
because that's like one of my favorite PS5 games.
Yeah,
but they did release it PS4. It makes your PS4 sound like a fucking jet engine.
But
it'll get you there.
You can play it. You can play the whole thing.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You can just kill the mystery of what this game might be, or maybe not. Maybe there'll be more mystery to it. But you can kill that by playing this demo and being like, okay, I know at least where we're going now. So you can be more like amped up to get the game and continue with that feeling rather than being like kind of trying to avoid it. Not saying that you're trying to avoid, but like trying to avoid all the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth talk, because you can be part of it.
This is a helpful
demo and then into the full game.
It's a helpful therapy session for me.
Okay.
Because I was in RPG chat basically saying like, why should I play the demo?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know I'm going to play the full game, I don't want spoilers. I want to play it in the context of the game. And nobody had a really good answer.
Yeah.
The only answer that Ken and Nelson had is Nelson said it's a feels trip. And Ken was like, well, if you enjoy it, then it's not time wasted or anything like that. Like, it's like worst case scenario, you waste time. And I was like, well, that's a pretty bad worst case scenario for me specifically.
Yeah. I think wasting time is not a wasting time is worse than wasting money when you get to a certain point, I think.
Yeah. So, but I think, what you mentioned about the vertical slice, I mean, I forgot that it also could be different from where that point would be in the actual full game. So that's interesting. The second thing is just about the vertical slice representing its own part of the overall experience that the developers want you to have.
Yeah.
Is also interesting that I didn't really consider. So. Yeah. Maybe I'll go let her rip.
Trust that they wouldn't release a demo with the thought that it would spoil the experience of playing the full game.
Yeah.
They are, no fucking developer is going in like, let's spoil our own game with the demo. They're like, we're going to show you something in the demo. We're going to show you something that we think is interesting, but it's definitely not the most interesting thing, and it's definitely not the entirety of what you're coming here for. It'd be like, they're not going to give you Twilight Princess. I'm going to spoil a little bit Twilight Princess. They're not going to give you a Twilight Princess demo that starts with the cutscene of fucking Ganondorf showing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that'd be ridiculous. They might give you a demo of in the part. Same with
Ocarina.
Yeah, exactly. Like they'll give you demos that are in parts of dungeons or in entire dungeons. Like Wind Waker does this. It gives you a dungeon to play in, but it gives you zero context. So even if you do understand how that part of the game works, by the time you get there in the full game, it'll be a different experience anyway. Because now
it'll almost
like,
click in like the way of the new, like in the context it'll click, but it'll also click being like, oh, it's cool for me to experience and see my different frame of mind now, and be able to mentally compare those two.
There's like your goals are different. With a demo, your goal is literally just to take in the taste of what to appetize yourself for the meal that is the game. When you're playing the full game, even if there's part of that appetizer, it like say your appetizer has something to do with potatoes. Your meal, your entree also has potatoes in it, but now it's mixed with the juices from the meat, the fucking bits of like other vegetables and shit like that.
Yeah.
Eating this potato by itself now is like irrelevant, but you will remember how nice that potato was, because by the time you get to that same bit of potato in your entree, I keep talking about potato, but when you get to that potato in your entree, you're like, oh fuck, this is, this potato was prepared the same way, but god damn, now it
hits different.
It's hitting. I got a little bit of wine in me. I got a little bit of fucking. I'm chewing on this fucking steak. It's just god damn, this is really good, and I'm glad that this got me into the door to this. Even though I knew I was coming in, now I like they set my expectations a certain way so they could completely rock them by the time I got there. You know,
that's a good metaphor.
So
yeah.
So I think that's my. I think we came full circle and
we did. That
actually
was good
playing
shit.
that demo, and you're going to play that demo tonight.
All right. Do you have a Hierophants?
No.
You never have a Hierophants.
I never do because it's not a thing I think about because I don't like.
I need you to get mad on the internet and I need you to bring it here.
All right, we're gonna.
I've got one though.
Okay, you've got one.
I've got one. It's not really fans. It does kind of go back to the idea of demos, and I don't know that this is a demo, but I hope it is a demo in a way. So the Celeste team came out with a Nintendo 64 version, like mini game.
Yeah,
I played it today, and it fucking rules.
It does. It's free, so there's no reason.
It's on itch.
It's on itch.
It has like full controller support with Nintendo Switch controller and PS5, and like it's got more than you would expect just a version 0.1 game on itch to have.
Yeah.
I played it for an hour, and I think I've got almost everything, probably 80% through the little game. I hope it's a demo for something bigger because it's fun. They have clear inspiration of Mario. They got like little Mario Sunshine side levels with like the voices like doing do 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 do, like doing the Celeste theme, the motifs.
Yeah,
which is funny. I will say that a couple things don't quite translate to the 3D medium, and I'm sure then that's the only reason why it might not be a demo. They were really just kind of like, well, it's not
what they could do.
Yeah,
right? Like this is a conceptual
just like
thing.
The camera angles, things like that. Yeah. Like you can't really like line stuff up as precisely as the 2D game, which is like the one of the most precise platformers around because it has to be because of what it demands of you.
Yeah,
but it's good. It's good. It feels like a demo. I kind of hope it's a demo. I like the inspiration they drew it from. It's good shit. Give me more stuff like that.
Yeah, I think
give me more free shit. Give me my cheap shit with high quality.
There you go. Yeah, that's just be honest about it. You want cheap shit and you don't want to pay for it. Not you, but people. I think I actually do think stuff like that is great because smaller projects that are a strange concept using an existing idea sometimes end up being like getting a reaction that maybe the developer didn't expect or maybe the audience didn't expect. And that idea gets rolled out into a full thing. It might not be using the same IP as they used to make it. Like maybe they will make something like that isn't Celeste.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Celeste gets you in the door.
It's
Pokemon
true.
Gets you in the door.
Yeah.
All this stuff gets you interested in the ideas that are there. But once you get past that, you realize that it's an interesting thing in and of itself.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, well, I hope there's more of this. And if there isn't, fine.
Yeah.
But if there is,
great.
Then fucking great. Yeah, you end up with I can't even think of a project off the top of my head that was like a demo or a small thing that turned into a big thing. But there are many of them out there. So, more of that.
More of that.
Yeah. But okay.
All right. Cool.
Rattle off the...
Well, you like the content, you like the podcast, give us a like, comment, subscribe, hit us up on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Memory League Podcast at gmail.com. We're here for you. We'll be back next week.
Okay.
Till next time, get your demos, get your
demos,
fill,
get
your rock ready, get bricked up.
All right, cut the mic.
All right, and that's it.
All right.